What's up? A long time ago, I think it was 3 months ago, we talked about anime and anime series, specifically episodes and series of anime that I really like and I think everybody should watch. Today, I want to talk about a subject that's very close, but a little bit more approachable, I think, to most people because it's just there for most people. It's more apparent, and it's anime movies. The reason why it makes more sense to talk about this for people who just don't know anime at all is because they actually come out in cinemas and theaters around the world as, it's a standard film in the same way that you have an animated film coming from Pixar, which is clearly very different, very, very different. It's a movie that comes out in cinemas and you can just go watch it in a normal fashion. That's why it makes more sense for people to not only know of their existence but also watch them. So if we are to take the grandest studio and the films that make the most sense, well, that actually come out in this fashion, we got to talk about Studio Ghibli, and that's really one of the studios that I want to talk about to you about today. It's probably the most well-known, the biggest studio in the world. I'm probably off in some way, but this is the most well-known studio. I'm pretty sure that'll be completely correct in Western society, right? And they're called Studio Ghibli if you're unfamiliar with them. And the founder, the one that's revered as the mastermind, is called Miyazaki, Hayao Miyazaki. If I read his name correctly, probably didn't, but whatever. They've made so many films and so many iconic films that most recently you've probably, if you've been around at these times, you've probably heard of Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away. This is from 2001. Princess Mononoke is regarded one of their best films from 97. These are really, really wonderful films, and they're all done in the fantastical style of Studio Ghibli. They have their own thing, they have their own shtick, if you will. It's kind of, when you have such a richness of so many details on screen at the same time that you just don't know where to look because everything seems so vibrant and full of color. And it's really this Ghibli style that people enjoy talking about, and Miyazaki with his wondrous tales that are very, very unique and very, very different from what we're used to. Some of them, I think Ponyo is like the best example, which Ponyo is one of the recent ones from 2008. There's no antagonist. It's just a story. It's a fantastic story of wondrous things, but there's no evil, there's no antagonist. It's just like, what happens? Not in a slice of life way, but just in a Studio Ghibli way. It's kind of hard to say. These things work for the entire family. You could take your little kids, your brother, your sister, and your grandmother. All enjoy it wonderfully. They're very emotional, and I absolutely love them. They've released a lot of movies throughout the years. One of the great ones, but the most known ones, My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service from 88 and 89, which, yeah, they've been releasing films for a long time. More recently, and then there came Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle. More recently, it's Ponyo. And the last movie that Hayao Miyazaki has ever worked on is The Wind Rises, which I haven't seen yet. He's retiring. He's actually retired by now, and Studio Ghibli sadly is closing its doors, or at least, according to the Wikipedia article, temporarily halting production following the retirement of director Hayao Miyazaki, who's one of the founders of the studio. And that's clearly really, really sad, and it's a time to just look back on their work. And you've probably heard, again, there's a good chance that you've heard at least, if not seen, one of these films. Be aware that there are more in the same kind of style, the Studio Ghibli style, and they're all really, really wonderful, and I highly recommend you watch them. Again, the ones that I've mentioned are probably the most well-known and most highly regarded. But it's also a time to take a look at other things, This is one studio, and it's not the only studio. There's a lot of other movies being released out there. Maybe not in standard films throughout the world, in America and Europe, but there's also other films there. And one guy that I've been really, really enjoying his work lately, that I've actually seen two of his feature films, his only feature films, because he usually works on smaller films, short films, is called, let's do this, Yasuhiro Yoshida. I think I read that correctly. I hope maybe that I read that correctly. So he usually works on short films, But two of his feature films, one of them is called Eve no Jikan, or Time of Eve in the translation to English. It is, I believe, his best film and one of the best slice of life from the genre of slice of life that I've ever seen. If you recall, slice of life is just taking a slice out of someone's life. It's not some crazy story that you're used to from Hollywood films, but it's just, you know, standard life. We're just taking a look at like a week or something out of a person's life. And this is actually a slice of life / sci-fi hybrid. And what makes it so special, and what I really enjoyed it, is it talks about a subject that we're very familiar, but in a very different way. It talks about a sci-fi world where we do actually have androids that look like humans and serve the humans. We're usually taking to this from androids take over the world, war machines, Terminator style, and, you know, crazy stuff, war action. But this is slice of life. This takes a very different approach, and it is absolutely fantastic, very emotional, very true to a slice of life kind of thing. What you'd expect reactions from real people happen in these kind of otherworldly situations, and I really enjoyed it. I believe it's his best film, and it's absolutely spectacular. I really, really recommend it. It's called Eve no Jikan, or Time of Eve. And another film it came out in 2009, and I should mention that it first came out as a series of episodes, short episodes, and then they did a Kickstarter in order to put it all together as a theatrical release of a full movie. That succeeded, and you can now get the full movie, which is basically all the episodes put together with a little bit of filler. So that's what you should watch. And yeah, that's it. That's really great. The movie that I saw 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? I can't even remember. Is called Sakasama no Patama, or Patma Inverted. And it is a little bit, it has its own problems, but the core concept, the idea behind it is amazing. It's so good and weird. And what it is that you have people and objects that are inverted. What do I mean by that? Their gravity is inverted. It's the opposite. So I'm right now, I have gravity in this direction. Think about an object or a person that has gravity in that direction. So if we go outside, they'll actually be drawn into the sky, which is terrifying. They'll fall into the sky. And that creates a fantastically weird world that's really just, you're looking at the scene, and it's just, I'm not sure how I feel about this, and it's so fantastic. The movie has its own problems. The supporting cast is generic and kind of terrible, especially the antagonist, which I really, really dislike. And they also kind of focus on huge establishing shots with epic music, which kind of fit some really fit, but they do that in favor of, you know, there's not enough character development, I feel. But the concept is so strong that it carries the movie quite well, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to whatever this guy has in store for me in the future. Whatever it is that he'll make, I'm kind of following him and want to see what he makes next, because I'm really enjoying his work. And that's it. That's Anime Movies. If you have any questions or you want any specific recommendations or whatever, as usual, you can talk to me. Let me know just in the comments. And that's it. Those are my opinions and stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.